It's Ben Wheeler, the comfiest man in all of science fiction. Here with sort of talk about Netflix and the new Godzilla movie that Netflix put out through Polygon Pictures. Now, I love Polygon Pictures. I think they're actually pretty good for what they are. Unlike a lot of animation studios, they seem to be willing to tackle science fiction. And I don't mean just like science fiction like a mecha show, even though they're mostly famous for Knights of Sidonia, but for the sort of science fiction that wouldn't get a show otherwise. Like how they're doing Blame movies by Tsutomu Nihei. You can only really do Blame in 3D. When they did 2D Blame, it was kind of a French animated clusterfuck. And I don't use that term lightly. I mean, not the swearing aspect of it, but the cluster aspect of it. It doesn't really happen all that often. That French animators get into anime, but the Europeans really loved Blame more than the American counterparts. Not that Blame doesn't have a really great following here. And part of that is, I think it comes down to culture and what the culture expects of its art. Especially since the Germans liked it the most out of all the other nations. Next to, of course, Japan and America. And I think that's part of the sort of German spirit. But that's something for another video. So Polygon Pictures recently put out a Godzilla movie. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Not because I felt it was the best Godzilla film. Like, I know this is a super unpopular opinion, but the 1998 Matthew Broderick Godzilla film is my favorite Godzilla film. Like, you can do great Godzilla flicks, but I still like that one the most. I feel it's Americanized in just the right way. I feel it hits its points just right. And I think the terror of it is pretty good, though it does kind of get schlocky in a couple scenes towards the end. But just the entire thing of it and why it comes about, I think hits the Godzilla spirit if it was Americanized. And of course they joke about it now. It's like, damn that, knockoff piece of garbage. And it gets like curb stomped by the real Godzilla. But the thing is that, like, I think a lot of Godzilla is schlocky and it's utter shit. Like, it's not just bad. I cannot watch it bad. Unless I'm, like, with friends who are roasting it during the time. Like, the son of Godzilla. Like, why? It's such a stupid-looking costume and idea. And it's like, yeah, but what about the asexual reproduction of the Godzilla in the 1998 one? Yeah, 1998 one. Yeah, that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is that Godzilla has an ugly-ass son. Who did he mate with? Mothra? Is he asexual too? No, he's a he. He's always been a he. Oh, fuck. And I'm betraying the fact that, I don't really watch Godzilla films. I'm a fan of the idea. I loved Pacific Rim, but I'm not a big fan of Godzilla. I haven't seen Shin Godzilla either, and I need to. The problem is it just doesn't show up when I want to see it, which is painful. It's really bothersome. And I understand that the Polygon Pictures takes a lot of design elements from Shin Godzilla, which I understand. Like, that's a reasonable thing to me. If you're going to create something in parallel with other movies, you have to make the design like those other movies. And what's more, the Godzilla did feel like it was Godzilla to me. Like, there should be a feeling of overwhelming, utter power, utter, not giving a shit towards mankind, that sort of thing. Like, sure, I know that he eventually evolved into some sort of protector or whatever, but he started out fucking up Japan, like, over nuclear power or something. Like, it's strange to me, like, when I see that stuff, and then I see the original stuff, and I see some of the new stuff. Like, there's a disconnect there. I've never bought Godzilla as a protector of Earth or humanity or Gaia's Vengeance or whatever. Well, Gaia's Vengeance I do buy, actually. I'm going to get around this guy. I hate this part. Going to the gym, by the way. My sweater is actually not straining at the zipper to constrain my girth. So I am happy. I am a happy chappy. Yep, that's right. I'm comfortable. I'm not comfortable, actually. I'm lying about the comfiness aspect, guys. It's just a sham. Somebody kill me. I just can't keep living this sham of a lie. But Godzilla, in and of himself, like, should speak to power. And the problem is, I don't believe that when it's not just a rubber man in a suit, you know, destroying the town. It's a rubber man fighting another rubber suit as if Godzilla is some one-man Sentai bullshit. I don't like Sentai. Like, I like the concept of it, 5 superheroes, color-coordinated, Voltron, so on and so forth. But it doesn't do anything for me. Mostly because it's like, shit, fuck, piece of fuck. Coming out in the lane like that. Yeah, hit me, brother. Yeah, come on. Just fucking ram into me. Piece of shit. What? I hate people like that. Like, it's just some old person. Fuck. I'm not a big fan of old people having licenses, by the way. I think that they should take a competency test more often than they do, and I think they do. But it's one of those things that really bothers me when you have an old person making dangerous moves in the driveway because they don't give a shit. And I think it's because they don't give a shit. Like, some things, like, sure, there's mental aspects of it that are going away. But it's like, you know, why endanger my life? Why endanger my car? Why? Like, do you have some sort of, like, fucking death wish? Do you have, like, some sort of entitlement issue? That you should just shoot out into traffic in front of me? Anyway. You see this? I'm waiting so that I can safely enter traffic and not cause... Okay, looks like they're stopped. And not cause a fucking accident. Yeah, sorry, this stuff really bothers me. And it's not just like there's this guy coming into traffic and he kind of pulls in, pulls out. You know, I dig that. He's far enough away. He's taking a reasonable choice. The light behind him's red. This is far away from Godzilla. So, if Godzilla... Like, some people didn't really like the Godzilla. I understand. Like, there's a different sort of cultural thing going on with Polygon's Godzilla than the Godzillas of the past and Shin Godzilla and the original Godzilla. And I don't believe for a second that the original Godzilla, which fucking stomped on Tokyo and shot nuclear fire breath and then left, basically, you know, is the same thing. I don't believe it. Like, how do you have a creature of destruction and then he's saving the Earth from Mecha Godzilla or something, and then he, you know, and then he goes back to destruction? No, fuck that. I don't like those old films. And I think there's a narrative quality to the new Godzilla that works out for the best. Mankind flung itself to the stars to run away from Godzilla. That makes sense to me. And their decision to return to Earth is one they don't make lightly. Like, it's like, shit, guys, we don't have enough supplies. What are we going to do? You know, oh no, look at me, sort of thing. And I'm going to do some things I have to take to the post office. And actually, I was talking to a guy, and he said he didn't like it. He didn't like the build-up. Shit, did I forget my... I did. That's alright. Looks like I forgot my letters. That's annoying. But that's alright. I can take care of that later today. But I'll finish up my thing here. You know, he said he didn't like it. And I kind of dig it. Because... like he says that it should be enough, there should be enough cultural markers to say that we should be afraid of Godzilla. But the thing is that I don't know how true that is anymore if Godzilla is kind of bitchy. Or if he's a hero instead of a villain. Like, it's like Americans, a lot of Americans knew of Godzilla as an idea, those shitty movies that Japan puts out because they like seeing the monsters fight each other. Like, fundamentally, Americans get the idea. We're a bit bigger on humans and robots fighting monsters, that sort of genre. If we were to compare monster versus monster or humans versus monster, that sort of thing. But I don't think it should be taken for granted that anything should be terrifying. Like, it's like, oh, everyone's scared. Alright, guys, we're going back to face our fears. What? Who the fuck? Who did this? Who decided to just randomly... You know, I know that we have killed a lot of people and a lot of bad things are happening, but let's get out of it. You know? It's like, you know, let's go back and face it, even though our reason d'etre has been to run from it for the last 20 years. It doesn't make sense. It's not a logical leap that can be done easily. The choices that are made by producers and writers have to make sense within their world. If you do something as drastic as fleeing yourself into the far reaches of space to hide and run from an unstoppable force of nature, then you have to spend time over them arguing about it, over them talking about their plight, what drives them forward, what drives them back. Gen Urobuchi, the Urobocher, you know, is a great to mediocre writer. His writing has always struck me as either just okay or it's been fantastic. Fate Zero, fantastic. Verdant, Glorious Planet is just okay. Aldenoa Zero is just okay. And I know that other people made it worse than it is. But you know, like, it's still his original creation, and I'm pretty sure he plotted out the major twists. I don't, you know, sure, if people fumble the ball then, but, you know, like, but I think he hit it. I think he hit what he had to hit. The problem with Godzilla is that you cannot create a kino, that is to say, a masterpiece, Godzilla flick. Like, I believe Sucker Punch is one of the greatest movies ever made. Zack Snyder was given free reign, and he wasn't limited to, say, Superman. Which, the choice to make Zack Snyder the fucking Superman guy was a stupid decision on all levels. But that's another video. He did 300 well. He did Sucker Punch incredibly well, but it's not the same thing when you deal with a character who has specific motivations. They should have given Batman to Zack Snyder, and then Christopher Nolan to Superman, if they hadn't already. But that's just my opinion. Like, it's the same sort of thing. Gen Urobuchi is a pretty good writer. I'm looking forward to what he does for the next Godzilla flicks, beyond what people are saying about it. It's coming out in May. I'll do another video about it then. And I really do enjoy it quite a bit. And I hope that the Mechagodzilla versus Godzilla sort of shtick works out better than what in what was seen here. Like, I haven't even gotten to the point where, like, the Godzilla film is basically Moby Dick with Godzilla as the white whale. Like, Haruo's character is great. I feel his vengeance, his drive, his animal-like tendency, his everything. Like, I dig it. I feel it. I felt the panic that other people had. I felt the despair that they had to fight to get things going. Like, it's one of those things. I think it went a lot better than people are saying it did. Oh, you're scared of Godzilla? Who cares? Fuck. It's like, I like the guy, but I think that's just kind of a dumb idea. Like, it's not that who cares. It's that, it's not about who cares at all. Like, if I say to somebody, like, he's a fellow writer. If I say to him, who cares about such and such fears of vampires? Because if he's a knight or whatever, he should be able to fight. Well, yeah, but he has to overcome his cowardice. Oh. Oh, so just like the characters on the space station overcoming their cowardice to fight Godzilla. Oh. That's interesting. Alright, guys. I've talked enough about it. Go see the Godzilla film on Netflix. Drive safe. Please, drive safe. I can't stand it. It causes me to just hate people. Please. This has been Wheeler, the comfiest man in science fiction, signing out and wishing you all a great evening.